No, but high dias is basically what Epic Mealtime was a high dia.
Yeah. Sometimes they're winners.
No, I remember the days of those confusing early days of YouTube.
Do you ever think about your life? You were a substitute teacher. Do you think you would have advanced to full-time regular teacher?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I did. The year before, I was a full-time teacher for half the year.
What did you teach again? Your full time?
History and media.
Really?
Nice. I bet you would have been a fun ass teacher.
I never joked straight up. I was super sarcastic and I never smiled. But like the smart kids would come in and be like, "Oh, this guy's fucking around."
Yeah,
Like they knew. The smart kids knew. Like I shaved like a mustache because I was like, "I'm a teacher. I have a mustache." And some kids would come in and be like, "You don't really have a mustache, do you? Like you grew one for class."
I mean,
I
ironically,
remember the very first day I taught class like that I ever did. I was like 22 and like it was like an 11th grade and sometimes they're like 18. And I was sitting at the desk like my class is gonna start, and this kid walks in, like the kids walk in and like one of them looks at me and goes, "Who's this fag?" Right away to me. And it was like I had to be like, "Hey, what the fuck you saying to me, bitch?" But I didn't know what to do yet or anything, so I was just like, "Oh, I just look at my desk for this thing here. Where did I leave my papers?" But I'm a substitute. It's not my desk. None of this stuff is mine. I just wanted to not deal with that yet, but I also didn't want to just be like, "You're right, I am." So
Yeah,
I was
your
like, I didn't even
Huckleberry.
hear that. I'm looking. Where's my stuff that I had here?
Now, where did I put that in this guy's desk?
This high school kid was pretty ballsy just to talk shit to a 22-year-old man. And you're like 6'5".
An enormous 22-year-old man.
I was sitting and I was wearing a pink collared shirt.
You were kind of a
I look like a bitch.
I remember I was playing basketball. I used to play. I was never good. Just like at the local park, and there was a high school freshman, but it wasn't. He was a rising freshman, and the math teacher was the assistant basketball coach. Assistant basketball coach, head girls coach, and they're playing, and he was good. This guy had played at Penn State, our teacher, and the young guy was talking smack to him, and he was very disrespectful. And eventually the teacher was like, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Are you about to enter Ocean City High School? Do you have dreams of being on the basketball team that I coach? It's time for you to straighten up and apologize." And all his like friends are telling him to apologize or telling him to straighten up. He stuck to his guns. I like to think that he fucked with him for the next 4 years. But it was fun to watch go down.
Well,
Sometimes when I was teaching,
winning
I
the
noticed
battle
that,
to lose the war, as they say.
I know sometimes people like in high school, like when I was teaching, like some kids were good kids, and then they'd like they'd do something, or whatever. Like I like a good kid, and you're like, "Mark, please." I said, "Everyone's quiet," and it's like he's fucking talking to me. But he didn't mean to swear, and now he's from like, "Did you just swear in my class?" He's like, "Well, what the fuck is your problem?" And I'm like, "Mark, you're a good kid. You don't need to be like this right now." He's like, "Fuck you!" And it escalates, and it's like he's a good kid, but he's never been in the position before, so he doesn't know how to stay chill. So it only escalates further until I was at the point where I'm like, "Well, now I gotta write you up to the principal and say that you told me to fuck myself, and I know you're a good kid. This should have never played out like this. You need to chill." Like some
really
kids, it was just like, yeah, no, I swear it wasn't exactly like those word for word, but there were times where like good kids throughout the year would unintentionally escalate a scenario because they weren't like, it was like the teacher, it's like, "Don't do that," and then their gut reaction was to defend themselves, but now they're talking back. And now you're talking back, and they're like, "Fuck you." But like,
Did you ever
like,
have kids
they're nervous and they have like a little bit of stuff in the back of their throat, and it's like, what I'm talking about? It's like a really specific high school scenario, but yeah, it's happened quite a few times.
It sounds like you might have started with you being like on the level of wrong, right? Like, hey, Mark, be quiet. He was talking to me. Like maybe Mark was quiet, and like you said,
you're right. You're right, totally. And I said, "Mark, be quiet." I was wrong, maybe. But he was talking to me. And I'm like, regardless, no one's talking. It's okay. Well, I didn't fucking do anything. And it's like, well, now you're swearing. So maybe I was wrong, but now you fucked up.
Now
He's
you
like,
done fucked up, Mark.
Suck your mom, Mr. Harley. Suck your mom. Suck your mom's little dick. I'm like, oh, well, now what? Now what's happening?
Now you're going to suck your mom's dick. Obviously,
Now I
follow
gotta suck your mom's
instructions.
little dick. I got to jerk off to a picture of Taylor.
Oh, I know.
Put it up on Reddit.
Yeah, put
Daddy's
it up on
gonna do a
Reddit.
cum.
It's just the least appealing way to come. Daddy's gonna do a cum.
Yeah, it turns me
Daddy's
off.
gonna do a cum?
And you got a spinny pinwheel hat on, and you're acting coy about it as you busting. Did you ever have a kid that was like?
It wasn't even me
from
that
the
said
second
it.
he walked in?
She said it.
Did you ever have a kid that was so shitty that like you just, even though you're trying to be a good teacher, you're just like, oh, this kid's a piece of shit. Like this kid's an absolute piece of
Oh
shit.
yeah,
I'm not
those
getting
kids. I
through
was
to
just
him.
like, oh, that's my karma. I deserve this kid. That's the one that it was. But I remember like a kid being like, and I'm like, that's not funny. He's like, sir, you're old. You don't know what funny is. I'm like, listen, bitch. I promise I'm funnier than you. I remember being your age and being unfunny like you and thinking it was funny. And I'm like, and look at your friends. They're laughing because they're your friends. I'm like, none of you guys are going to be friends when you're 25. So they're laughing at your shit jokes now because they want you to laugh at their shit jokes in art class. But take a look at the girls. Not one girl is laughing because their brains are better than yours right now. They don't find you funny.
and because they don't want to fuck you.
I'm good at this. I know what's funny. It's not you. It's not you. And then I'd be like, you have to stay after class. And I'd be like, and Mark has to stay too. Because you always, when you're a male teacher and you make someone stay after class, you have to make one of their friends stay after class too. Because otherwise that kid's going to say you diddled them.
Wait, you would want to pick one of their enemies, not one of their friends, right? Because if they're friends, it's like, yeah, he diddled both of us. We both agree. We were both there. Right?
It's a good move.
Yeah, I never did
Plus,
that.
you can get him bullied. Right?
You could.
Just be like, this guy needs to stay behind class, and the biggest bully in class needs to stay too. No reason in particular.
I'd be
Now,
like, Mark,
you
you're staying
get
after. You'd
10
be like, but sir, I didn't do anything. I'd be like, yeah, but your friend's probably going to say I touched his dick. So you got to come and watch. Wait, this sounds bad. Let me bring that back.
Yeah.
Your friend would probably accuse me. You got to make sure he doesn't.
Yes.
Especially
I'm like, wow,
girls.
sir, sounds like you want a three-way. And I'm like,
Well-
now everyone's fired.
Dude,
Trust
thinking
me,
back
I'm
to
on a
like
list.
some of the teacher shit that like you would see, like there was one teacher I remember from like my middle school who would go up behind and like give shoulder rubs to the girls sometimes.
Ugh.
And at the time when you're like 12, 13, you're like, what? That's odd, huh? Well, back to thinking about Pokemon. And now looking back, it's like, oh, that was like wildly inappropriate for him to be doing.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Giving little massages. I've talked about it
Like
before. My
Eve-
gym teacher at the time, this is in high school, he was a grade A USDA prime meat gazer. And he would stand, it was just, I've talked about the shower before. It was like a just big shower with a bunch, no dividers or anything, just a bunch of like the spigots or whatever all around the place, the shower heads. And you'd go in, shower, and there was like a long corridor where you'd walk from the shower area, you'd come out, grab your towel off the rack, and then walk back to your fucking locker and put your clothes on and go to your next class. And this guy would stand maybe 10, 12 feet like from where the towel rack was on the same wall and just lean to the side on it as you were going in and coming out. He's fully clothed. And he would be like, always yelling, like, boys, class starts in 8 minutes. Come on. And if he's and he's just sitting there watching you as you're out naked, dicks out, flopping around, drying off. He's meat gazing a lot bit, frankly. And then if you stayed in there too long that you were going to be late, as if that's his fucking problem, he would like come and just look in the shower and just stare at you and be like, hey, it's time to get out of there, Taylor. You're going to be late for your next class. And that was my senior
And
year.
you're
So
like,
I was
whoopsie,
like,
I'm
Coach.
so slow, coach.
Tee coach, I dropped the soap.
I can't reach there.
No, I still remember though, because I had that senior year and they've had a scheduling error where I think it was study hall gym as my first 4 classes. So I doubled up on study halls and gyms.
Wow, you were in special education.
I had
it
no
sounds
reason
like.
to be there. I had no reason to be there.
Was
And
that-
he'd be like, you're going to be late for your next class. And I'd always be like, hey, coach, my next class is study hall. I can shower as long as I want, and I'll see you again in an hour for another shower.
He's like, correction, we could shower as long as we want.
Yeah, we can shower. Yeah, that guy was a fucking creep.
I had a creep.
Fucking creep.
When I was a collegiate swimmer, the assistant coach was creepy. And this doesn't tell it by itself, but he owned a strip club, and he gawked at the girls all the time. These are girls who worked out, like, I won't exaggerate, 4 hours a day or something. Like, they were hot. And sometimes he would swim underwater in the deep end and just watch them go back and forth. Watch the swimmers go over.
That's extra creepy.
It is, but it was all under the guise of observing their stroke, so that he would have corrections
that's
for
so
them.
weird and blatantly not.
They had the opposite of a periscope that would go underwater, and you could watch all the swimmers go back and forth through like binoculars. It's like a set of mirrors that would watch them observe the swimmers and their strokes in theory. But they're totally just checking out the hottest chicks on the swim team as they went back and forth with this like mirror periscope thing where they could see underwater.
I'm on this guy's side. That's a great bit.
Yeah, it was creepy as fuck. Although I will say on a couple of occasions actually, if we won a swim meet, he would take us to his strip club afterwards. And we weren't even 21. But
That's
he would
so crazy. How old are you?
Dude, this guy's tight.
18, 19. And
that's legal here.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, but so this place you had to be 21 to get in. And he would take us, he would sit us in the back, like away from the other patrons. But there's, titties out. And and we just hang out there for a little while and then go back to the dorms.
That's sick. This guy, calling him a creep is slanderous.
He's cool guy of the week, maybe.
He's an innovator.
He's a motivator.
Yeah, a Steve Jobs guy.
Yeah, we can go to the strip club if we lost.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
how things work.
You never
You
went to
only want
Chuck E.
the winners.
Cheese if you lost either.
Yeah, but